another cog in the murder machine. They said I'm sweet to scare the living shit out of me.
Go. And our beats are on, and shall we begin? So, hi guys, I'm back from a little bit school, so yeah, if you're wondering. But I'm trying to get everything in check, okay? So please forgive me, I'm sorry. This is gonna be what if Deku was T'Challa, or Black Panther, pretty much. I want to do a Loki series. So if you guys are wondering how I've set that up, just, vote next time or some stuff on my YouTube channel. It's just a community. You don't have to subscribe or anything. Just, vote, do whatever you want. But anyways, let's begin. It goes as the same and like usual. Izuku goes to quirk doctor and he has no quirk. Bakugo bullies him about it. Everyone does, but it's a lot worse this time. In this world, if you don't have a power, and it's not only just quirks this time, there's mutants, science freaks, everything. And Zuko is just a normal person. And there's barely any regular humans. There's never really any regular humans, like I just said. But there's only, out of the whole population, there's only 10% that are regular. And Izuku sadly falls into that. But there are stories. We're going to take a little bit away from Izuku for a little bit. But there are stories that Izuku has read before during his high school when he's in the geography or world geography. There was tales in Africa about their protector, a warrior called the Black Panther. He or she was a valid warrior. Ages ago, during the 100th BC, there was the Black Panther with other type of things, but they don't know what it was. And Izuku was always intrigued about different types of religion and stuff. And that's also what makes him get bullied. So we go to Izuku at age 12. He's in school, getting just picked on, not anything severe yet. He just keeps going about his day. But when he got to lunch, Bakugo, his goons, and almost everyone, some people just don't even speak to Izuku. They just don't want to get involved. Almost everyone, though, picks on him. Bakugo and his goons just drop his food. People take pictures of him. One of the goons poured milk on him. Izuku just hates it. When school's over that day, he goes home. He goes to his mom. His mom's just swell. She doesn't know. Izuku just puts on a smile just to make her seem happy. And when she asks, what happened to your hair? Why is it all scratched? Why did you have a bloody nose? He just makes up lies. He says, sorry, Mom. My hair's messed up because we did something in the gym. We ran a lot, so I kind of rinsed it off. And the nutty nose, we played some dodgeball a little bit, so I kind of got hit. But yeah, that's nothing severe. She's okay, and just goes on with her regular day life. And she supports whatever he wants to be. You see, she isn't a mutant. She just has a quirk. And the quirks in this world are as strong as mutants. They can be, but there's obviously obviously mutants are way stronger than quirks if they have bad quirks. But usually they're kind of on par level or just a little bit higher. But not as many are as Omega level, I think it is, for mutants. And Izuku just goes to his room, though. And obviously, if you're wondering what Iku's quirk is, it's the same one in the show. But like we said, Izuku just goes home, does lie to his mother. But when he goes to his room, he cries. He cries to himself, and he just hates it. How he thinks it's unfair how he didn't get a quirk. He just tells himself, why isn't it? Why me? God, I could have just used a quirk or a mutant. I could have been anything, but you just do this to me? And he cries to himself. And yeah. Now we go to age 15. 3 years ahead of him. Age 15, and it's the halfway of the school. Izuku's passing people in his class. Smart, very smart. He will get bullied to get answers, of course, but very smart. He does it just so his mom doesn't ask why is he so hurt when he has actual scrapes on him, a bloody nose, and a purple eye. He just doesn't want to tell her, so he does it, so he doesn't get hurt for her. And one day in world geography, the teacher says that, we are going on a trip, but you may have to ask your parents to sign up, stuff like that. I do recommend some kids, and if your parents say no, I understand, but I do recommend Izuku Midoriya, and he also says some random people's names, but mostly everyone just kind of shook it off. Midoriya was excited because where they're going was Africa, and he really did like their culture. Some other kids were geeks like him, but not as much as a geek as him. So, after that day, he went home and told his mom. His mom said, of course. And Inko has a stable job. She actually is pretty good with money. She does more than what an average person would have. I guess not rich, but a good amount of money. So she lends him a credit card and make sure it just transfers over to what they pay, right? And Izuku is happy. He packs up clothes for a whole month. A whole month they'll be gone, and he's happy about it. So we go to 3 weeks later, because the teacher obviously had to get his curriculums and everything done. But the kids that are going is Katsuki Bakugo, 2 of his goons, Midoriya, and 2 other people. Actually, no. Let's just say his whole class went, because they didn't want to be in school, but Midoriya still kept up with his work. Because let's say, when I mean like he kept up with his work, let's say when they left, they were recommended to do their homework, but they wouldn't get like points taken off, but if you did it, you would get bonus points and stuff like that. And Midoriya did it during his way there, and when they were just on their way, they took a plane, obviously, and they took their own little plane. They took a plane, and they got first class because their school is pretty okay. And Midoriya's just in the back, listening to some music, just calm. Everyone else is talking, kind of being rude to the employees, but Izuku says, I'm sorry about them. They're kind of loud and stuff. And what are they called? The workers on the plane say thank you, and they give him a little bit bonus. They give him ice cream, stuff like that. And some of the students are pissed off about it. So when they leave, they kind of pick on him, saying, oh, look at Midoriya. He's already getting girls and stuff like that. And Midoriya just ignored them as much as he can. And yeah. And they landed. It's about midnight for them. And the teacher said, well, I have a hotel. It's a really nice one. We'll be doing exploration and mostly just having fun during this whole month. And I will allow you to separate from me from this whole month. But you have to be back here at the hotel around 2 p.m. at around 1, let's say 12:30, okay? And this is towards the nighttime or morning, 12:30 a.m. And they all agreed, and pretty much the first 5 weeks, they just explored as a whole group. And then the 6th week, that's when they kind of all started separating. They separated from each other. Some are having fun, some are doing some stuff that's illegal, and yeah. Midoriya, on the other hand, he usually just goes around taking notes, drawing, learning about their culture, and yeah. Now, we go to 7 weeks later. Hold up, I just want to see what time it is. Okay. We go to 7 weeks later, and Midoriya is just okay. He's still scrawny and everything, and he's right now looking in caves, looking at everything around them with a tool, with a guide, and the guide's telling them the stories about the Black Panther, he is the protector of them, and they call him the King of the Dead because he can contact with the dead. Midoriya was so intrigued, taking notes, and the tour guide said, "Well, this is it." All of a sudden, the lights go off. He's confused. Everyone starts running, and the tour guide tries to follow, but he says, "Please, everyone just stay here. I'm gonna go check it out." Midoriya listened. Everyone else ran, including the tour guide. When the lights came back on all of a sudden, Midoriya was just there alone, looking around and just looking, I guess. He looked around all those stuff, and that's when he saw something interesting. He saw the pattern, and it wasn't glowing yet. It was just carved, and he thought it was so beautiful. He wanted to touch it, but he couldn't. It was against the rules. But for some reason, he just had a feeling to touch it. When he got closer to it and closer, it started glowing purple. He was confused. Why isn't this going? Why is it glowing? Is his head okay? He's wondering, but when he touched it, he passes out, but he's not fully out, I guess you could say. In the real world, he is. He's knocked out for sure, but when he's awake inside, I guess you could say. And that's when he sees multiple panthers, and about 5, let's say. And they're all staring at him, while around Izuku is this tall grass, this one single tree where all the panthers are surrounded. The sky is purple with mixed with blue and some pink in it, even some blue, I guess you could say. But it's beautiful. Midoriya wanted to take out his phone, but it doesn't have it. He's confused. He says, "What? It was in my pocket." And he looks around again, and he sees one of the panthers is up close to him, and he steps back and falls. Then all of a sudden, all of the other 4 are right beside him. He's confused. What's going on? And that's when they all transformed, showing what they really look like. It was African men and women. 2 women, 3 men. He was confused. He said, who are you? The one woman said, "I'm Shikari." Well, no, what's her name? Give me a sec. She says, "I am Shuri, and these is my family. We've come down the generation over years and years. There's more out there, but only 5 of us were able to connect to you. You see, we've been a long line of Black Panthers, hundreds, even thousands if I'm right. I don't know the right calculation, but we are the most advanced civilization in the world. You see, I was the second to last Black Panther. Right now, the new one is somewhere. We don't know where, though. Actually, wait." And all of a sudden, one person whispers to her, says, "The last one died 50 years ago." And she's in shock, and she says, "Where is he?" And Midoriya's confused. He says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, one of the last Black Panther has been dead for 50 years, and I'm wondering where he went." And that's when a man steps up and says, "Hello, I am T'Challa, last ruler, I guess you could say. But Shuri, the last Black Panther, used his powers for evil. He's not allowed here in this afterlife of our plane." And Shuri was a little shocked because she knew this man really well. Midoriya was confused still. He says, "What?" Then the other woman, Chokro, I'm just making up people just so you know, after these 2, Chokro said, "Well, I guess we should find a new one, but you." And then the last two were guys, and they said, Yes, you. Roy said, what? And they all explained. They all said, how did you make it into our plane? He said, well, it's not a long story, but you see, I was on a tour and we were looking around in these caves. And that's when I saw it. All of a sudden, these lights went out. And T'Challa said, oh, I see. The museum. Okay, continue, I'm sorry. He says, no worries, King. And he says, King, no. If you're here, there has to be a reason, if I'm right. Right? And they all look at Midoriya and say, I don't know, he isn't from our country. And he says, well, but when the lights went out and they went back on, no one was there, it's just me, because they all ran off. And he says, oh, I see. He says, yeah, and then, I guess, out of nowhere, this symbol, it looked like a mask, but with some with a necklace, and there was some, design on it, but it started to glow for some reason. I don't know why. I didn't want to touch it because it was one of the rules, but I couldn't stop, and then all of a sudden, I guess I'm here. He says, well, young man, you looks like, and this is when one of the mysterious men, Chokula, let's say his name is Shafiki. How do you say the Lion Kid's name? Give me a second. The man said Rafiki. He says, well, I guess we found the new champion. T'Challa and Shuri and so did Chokla looked at him and said, are you sure? He's not even from our country. And Rafiki said, think about it. Why wouldn't this happen to everyone? He was alone, and you know what the rules are for us. They must be pure-hearted and willpower. You know what our first ancestor did. He wielded Mjolnir. This is actually true in the comics, just so you know. He wielded Mjolnir. And they all said true, but can we trust him? And Midoriya is a little shocked. Says, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but if it gives me a chance, please let me protect my mother from any people. You see, I'm not from Africa. And Rafiki said, yes, I could tell, no offense. And he says, no. You see, I'm from Japan. We came here for a field trip. And he says, oh, I see. Son, why? I wonder why my nation's god, or the panther, I wonder why the panther's choosing you then. There must be a reason. And out of the 5 here, I approve of you. All of a sudden, one part of the sky went dark, but glue purple, and Midoriya was confused. He said, what? T'Challa looked at Rafiki and said, I approve too. Another part of the sky went dark and glue purple. All of a sudden, Midoriya looked around and saw more panthers, hundreds, thousands, looking at him with their wide eyes. Ochoka said, I approve. Even more this time. Shiri said, I approve. More and more. And the last member looked at him and wasn't out of his panther form, let's say. Sniffed at him, transformed for a second and raised his arm. Sniffed at him again and said, you. I approve. And all of a sudden the sky went dark. Purple glowing, the wide eyes, the grass was black, the tree was purple glowing, but this time it looked like the whole place changed because with all the black around, with the purple glowing, the wide eyes staring, and the tree purple. What did I just say? Did I say it's white? Let's say it's purple, or it just is a black tree with some white on it, but with a purple ooze coming out of it. Midoriya was confused, and that's when T'Challa came up to him and said, "Follow me, please." They started walking slowly and slowly, and Midoriya looking around, seeing that there's regular people, I guess you could say, regular people watching, smiling at Izuku. Izuku's scared a little, and T'Challa says, "Hey, don't worry. These people are from my country. They will always support the Panther. As long as they support us to our nation, the Panther will never die, including you. Do you understand?" And he said, "Yes, thank you." And Midoriya went up to this ooze with T'Challa. And T'Challa said, "All you have to do is grab whatever is in there." And Midoriya raised his hand, but all of a sudden the ooze started just to absorb it. And Midoriya just, I guess, absorbed the ooze out of nothing. He was confused, and that's when Midoriya saw a necklace. And T'Challa said, "This will make sure you're granted. Do you understand? When you're in danger, wear this. All of us will be connected to you." And he said, I understand. And also, this should be connected to our suit. My suit, at least." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Simple. When you change, you will be different. Muscular, smarter, way smarter than you were before. But now, you shall go back to your regular realm. We must go back into rest. But if you ever need help, call on the Panther. It will help you during your fights, your guide, and sorrow. Do you understand?" He said, "Yes." Everyone transformed into their panther form except for the last man that looked at him and sniffed him and reproved him. He walked up to him and looked at him and said, "Me, boy, I will be the panther you'll be calling on. If you're wondering what my name is, well, I am, I guess you could say, T'Challa's father. And I am somewhat picky." T'Challa laughs a little, and he said, "Silence, boy. Anyways, my name," and I'm making up a name. He says, "My name is, let's say, give me a second." He said, "My name is Panther." And also, if you're wondering what that means, it means panther. I really just looked for like a minute. Just, I said, screw it, went to panther. And how you say is panther. Or panther, something like that. He says, "My name is Panther. Call on any one of us, though. But mainly, call on me. Since I was the last to prove, you must prove to me that you could use all of our skills. Our intelligence, everything. Do you understand, boy?" He says, "Yes, I understand." He says, "Good. Now, goodbye." All of a sudden, he pushed Midoriya softly. Midoriya went through the tall grass into the real world, into his body. Midoriya was in the hospital, in Japan's hospital. He was confused. The teacher was right beside him, just waiting. He said, "Midoriya, you're alive, thank God." And Midoriya says, What happened to me?" He says, "Well, when the tour guide came back, he saw that you were unconscious. We called the ambulance and you were in a coma, so we brought you back to Japan." And Midoriya says, "How long has it been?" He says, "Well, you don't worry, okay?" He says, "No, please." He says, "Well, our trip was 2 months ago. You are now towards the last curriculum for school." And he says, "Oh no, I have so much work to catch on." And he says, No, don't worry. Since you did all your work, all the bonus points made all your grades still an A. Don't worry about it, okay?" He says, "I understand, sir. Thank you." He says, "No worries. Now, well, all your stuff is packed right beside you. I have to leave, though." Midoriya, and before he left, he said, "Well, Midoriya." He says, "Yeah? Yes, teach?" He said, "Yes, sensei. I'm proud that you went on to the trip with me. Also, some person gave you a necklace, I guess. You said that a friend gave it to you. They said, tell a friend gave it to you." He's confused, and he says, and also the teacher said, "Oh, also, I don't know what this is, but here's this. He handed him a metal type of disc. He said, the person also gave this to me. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, they said, use it when you get in the hero course. And Midoriya, I'm sorry, but I don't know do they know that you have a core? He says, well, I don't know, teach. And he says, well, okay. I'll see you in 2 weeks, please. He says, okay, teacher. And the teacher left. Midoriya got up and looked at himself in the mirror. And he saw that he was actually muscular. And he says, wait, that wasn't a dream then. That was real. All of a sudden, a voice in his head says, yes, it was. Now, put on the necklace. And also, whoever gave you that thing, I guess we could say, was a part of the nation. They knew. And you received. That disc you received teleports you to Wakanda whenever you need it. Trust us. You're in great hands at home with us. Understand? He says, thank you. In his head. And yeah, now we skip over a week. Midoriya is talking to his mom. His mom's just happy that he's okay. She didn't question him. She just thought he just went unconscious because he got scared. And Midoriya wanted to tell his mom about what happened, but he didn't know if it was okay to reveal his identity to the pit and make the Panthers take his powers away. And that's when a Panther was taught. When his mom and him were talking, a Panther said to Midoriya, and Zuko kept talking and talked to the Panther also. Said, yeah, says, I know you want to tell your mother, I get it, but she doesn't need to know, okay? Says, yes, I understand, that's why I haven't told her. He says, good, but anyways, travel to Wakanda towards tonight, please. We have a gift waiting for you. The people do, I guess you could say. Please and thank you. He says, yeah, no worries. And towards the night now, we go to the night, and Midoriya looks at the disc, and he says, how do I work this thing? He puts it on the ground and says, he's thinking, is it a voice recognition or something? And that's when Shiri says, well, I guess you could do one thing. Try crossing your arms together. He says, okay. And he did it out in the air. He says, no. She said, no. Towards your chest. He did it towards his chest, and half of it started glowing. And she said, well, looks like they still have the same code. Now say, Wakanda forever. And he said, okay. Wakanda forever? And she said, no, with pride and with loudness in your voice. Say it like you are the next Panther. He says, oh, okay. He crosses his arms, closes his eyes, and says, Wakanda forever. And says, Wakanda forever. And all of a sudden, he opened his eyes. He's just standing in a room with glass behind him and a nice floor. And Midoriya looks at the glass and says, whoa, where am I? And he turns around and sees people bowing down, saying, hello, Arcane. He says, wait, King. He says, and that's when the Panthers, all 5 Panthers came out of Zuko for a second and showed an image and bowed down to Zuko also. Everyone was shocked to see the Panthers coming out. They never did this for the last guy. Zuko was confused. He said, what are you doing? And that's when Panther said, well, you are the new protector. That means you are the new king. Don't worry. We have people to help you when you're not here. We have people to help with the nation. But you are the king. Please check on our nation over the years. Please, just do. Please, thank you. And Midoriya bows down to people. And they're all confused. And he says, please stand. And they all stand, even the Panthers. And he says, I'm bowing down to you to make an oath that I will protect you as much as I can, but also for you giving me the pleasure to be the next king of Wakanda. If you need anything, please try to write letters. I will have people reading them for me, and when I come back, I will try to complete anything you need. Birthday party, a present, whatever. Just please tell me. I'll do anything, okay? And he stood up, and everyone bowed down again. They say, we accept. Please, take your word with it for serious. And Midoriya cried a little, so thank you for giving me this chance. And that's when Midoriya notices that he probably should start heading back home because he has school. He says, well, I have to go home. Please contact me if you may. Okay? And one of the science people came out and said, we already have your contact information. If we need anything, we'll contact you, so it'll be automatically. He says, okay, thank you. And all of a sudden, he teleports back, and he's in pajamas and everything. He says, nice. Well, time to go to bed. He goes to bed, and now we skip to the last week of school. Midoriya, and everyone's noticed Midoriya has changed. His IQ and his strength, everything changed. His agility, everything. They think that he's just been working out and trying to be a hero or a cop. Some people laughed at both of them. Some people kind of believed in him. But in reality, Midoriya is working out, but the boost of agility, strength, IQ, everything was because of one thing that the Panthers have told him now. The heart herb. It's part of the Panther, I guess you could say. The Panther's blood, I guess. The Panther has infinite amount of blood. And he will always offer to the mightiest, but for now, he gave it to Midoriya so he could protect his land and his home. But yeah, Midoriya goes on throughout these, let's say, 3 days, working hard still, trying to finish up his school while other people are slacking off, don't really care. But Midoriya he's thinking to himself that he needs to get better grades so he could get into the hero course. And he's not wrong. He's wrong because the hero course, or the school that he's offering to, and obviously UA's seen Midoriya's grades. They think that he's just going to this hero course or support course just to build gadgets and become a famous support. And also, I'm just saying some of these heroes would be dead, like the popular ones, if they didn't have some support gear. And I'm just saying, in the show, we don't got people, like, we've only seen companies that don't have big names, I guess you could say, for support course. So I think they should add more support course stuff into the filler episodes. So yeah, anyways, back on topic. But let's say the last day now. Midoriya is in class, the last class, I guess you could say, and he's getting picked on, and he's okay with it though. And the Panthers are asking, why are you letting yourself go through this pain? You are powerful. You were probably stronger than most of these kids. Why don't you just fight back? And in his head, he just says one thing. Because, just to make my mom happy. I don't want to go home with some bruises or anything. I just want to make her happy. And also, I don't want to kind of show off that I'm stronger than most of these kids. And let's say, hold on, give me a second. Rafiki laughs in his head, loud as a panther. He says, oh, that's hilarious. He does it so he doesn't show off how hilarious. And let's say Chogla says that's not really the meaning, but okay. And if you're wondering what the personalities are, it goes like this. Rafiki is the loud and bold one. T'Challa is the strategist, but has good strength. Obviously, Shuri's the smartest one out of the group. And Chokla is a fighter. She used to be one of the warriors for the king, but since the king loved her the most and married her, she was next in line, and they accepted her for being one of the few women panthers. And Panther knows everything well. He's smart, but he has the best connection with the panther. And Midoriya just goes on with his day. When the teacher comes in, he says, well, since today's your last day, I think why not tell everyone where you're going in the future? And he starts naming off people that are going to schools around the place, what they're doing and stuff. And then he went to UA. He said, UA, we have 2 people. Katsuki Bakugo. And he starts laughing his ass off, saying, whoever's the second person thinks that they're stronger than me, how laughable. Everyone starts laughing, and the teacher said, this is interesting. Izuku Midoriya. And they're all kind of shocked, but some say, yeah, he's probably on a support course. You seen his grades? They're crazy. And that's when the teacher says, not for support course, though. Hero course. And they're all just in shock, frozen. Well, Midoriya kind of looks like this. Just kind of nervous, but without crying and stuff. And the paper and books are on the ground with all the words not around him, But he just looks like this. And they all looked at him like they did in the show and laughed at him. But Midoriya didn't laugh. He didn't cry or anything. He didn't try to even defend himself. He just smiled. And everyone kind of got shooken off by this. He says, yeah, I know. It's kind of a long shot, but, you can't do it without trying, if I'm right. And he laughs a little, and Bakugo says, you're an idiot, you know that? You think you're going to get into one of the most best schools in the world. Do you think they will let a quirkless person in? And he says, well, who knows, Bakugo, who knows? And Bakugo tried to use his quirk on Midoriya. Not a big blast, but a miniature. And that's when all of a sudden, before the blast even hit Midoriya, purple symbols, I guess you could say, appeared on him. Not like on his skin, just around him. Everyone was confused. Bakugo was in mid-motion. He couldn't stop. And all of a sudden, Bakugo got repelled back. Midoriya was confused. He says, what the? And the Panthers and T'Challa says, well, it looks like the necklace is kicking in finally. It repels people off. Enough of the damage absorbed does a EMP, I guess you could say, but EMP, but with a better blast radius and does take out technology. Pretty much backs people off of you so you have a breather. He says, oh, I see. And Bakugo says, wait, what the hell was that? He says, well, Bakugo, I guess you could say I got a quirk. And he laughs a little and he says, so what the hell is it even called? He says, it's called, and he's thinking of names. Blast off? No. Repel? Maybe. The Panther says, just say Panther. Just say Panther. It's not that hard, okay? He says, but that wouldn't really make sense. And he says, and that's when they all kind of stopped. Even Shuri said, yeah, he's kind of right. But just call it the heart herb. He says, okay. He says, well, the quirk, I guess you could say, is called heart herb. And they're all confused. And he says, and they're all about to say, what does that mean? And all of a sudden the bell rings and he says, well, I gotta go home. And he starts running off. Bakugo follow him and everything, but is slowed down by everyone trying to rush out. Midoriya is out finally. He's walking around, and this is the last time he ever gets picked on by Bakugo and his goons. He knows he will be protecting this. He will be protecting Japan and Wakanda. Hold up, I just want to see something. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, but yeah, and we're gonna go. What time is it for me? 19. But I'm gonna get a regular image soon for Midoriya, but for now, we're just gonna go with. Let's go with a suit, just for respect for Bozeman, sadly. Hey, actually, give me your thoughts of what do you think on the new Black Panther movie that's supposed to be coming out? You know? I feel like, just to get off the story real quick, I just feel like people are really going to be criticizing this movie because of one thing. Because how well Bozeman did for this movie, people are gonna try to think of ways to destroy this new panther. But I say this before the movie even comes out. Let's put some respect on this man. He's taking up a role that will be harder, I feel like, to take up in the MCU. He's taking a keen, I say, and I call Chadwick Boseman a natural keen. I call him a keen for reasons. He's changed my life, and I feel like he's changed others, but he has to take up a keen's role and make a good performance for people. And if people start hating, I don't know. I don't think Chadwick Boseman would want that either, you know? But, anyways, let's get back to the story, shall we? But we get back to Midoriya, and he's running pretty quickly, and when he gets to the bridge, the slime incident happens, but Midoriya isn't scared. He smiles and just says, well, this is interesting. How does this work against these type of people? And T'Challa, let's say that Chokla says, well, with this a type of sloppy attacks, and she's annoyed by it. And T'Challa says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Chokla. But anyways, continue what you're about to tell Midori. And she said, well, dodge to the left. The attacks aren't really coming that fast, so you can move pretty quickly. He says, okay. He moves it to the left, and he says, so, Shiri. She says, yes. How would this suit do against this? She says, well, the suit isn't really built yet, I guess you could say. And he says, what do you mean? Well, the science in our lab is trying to work on it, and they've been contacting you. They contacted you at the end of school, but you don't have your phone on you, as you could tell. He says, yeah, sorry. She says, no worries. No worries. And all of a sudden, All Might comes and does the same thing, but Midoriya isn't such a freak about him anymore. He kind of gave up on the I'm an All Might fan, you know? But he did get his respect, said, All Might, you're a good hero and everything, and blast off. The big incident with Bakugo never happened, though. All Might still has one for all, and Midoriya doesn't. So, yeah. And I'm just saying, if you do like these beats, if you guys could even hear them, tell me. I'll put more stuff on like this, and yeah. Here, if you could hear them now, I don't know, but I bet you could probably hear the number at 8. So yeah, but let's continue, shall we? We continue on with Midoriya. Just gets home, and his mom's not home. She left a note saying, well, I'm going out of town for a little bit to hang out with friends. Please be safe. I left you my card again. And for joking's sake, she says, don't get knocked out again. I don't want to pay again. Please. And she laughed, and she just put a haha with a smiley face. Midoriya smiled and went to his room and said, well, let's go back to the country. He throws down the disc and yells, this time with pride, into his voice. He says, Wakanda forever. And all of a sudden, he's in Wakanda. Eyes open, everything. And he's there looking at, and he's in the science lab. And he says, oh, hello. And everyone bows down. Or not doesn't bow, they just cross their hands. And he says, you're okay, you're okay. They all stop, and they all start talking to the king of Wakanda now. He says, please. They said, king. He says, wait. Can you make this a public thing? If you see me, please don't call me king. Call me Midoriya. I want to act as normal as possible for y'all. Okay? And they said, yes, I understand, sir. He said, sir, it works too, I guess. And he says, and they said, oh, thank God. Oh, thank Panther. But yeah. And a public announcement, and Midoriya goes through stuff. He's going through with all the science, the people, and they finally tell him about vibranium, how it's the strongest thing on Earth. I think it is on Marvel, but yeah. How it's the strongest thing, and he talks about it, writes notes about it, and keeps notes in a drawer. Then he goes out in the public, and the public is so happy to see him. He goes to some birthday parties and gives them little presents and just goes around making people going to little businesses with some food, enjoying it. And he notices that this night there's a parade for the new king, and he says, well, I guess I must join, huh? And they said, yes. Here, I have an idea. And they go to the actor that's up front, the guy that's supposed to dress up as king. And he's nervous. And Midoriya puts his hand on his shoulder and says, hello. And the man looks at him and says, oh, king. Sir, Midoriya. He's like, hey, call me what you need, okay? He says, yes, sir. And he says, what's wrong? He says, I'm just really nervous. I'm taking up a role of a hopefully mighty king, not like our last one. And he looks down and he says, you know what? What's your name? He says, mine's Killmonger. Well, people call me Killmonger because I'm a good fighter, but you can call me... Hold up, give me a second. What is his real name? He said, you could call me Eric then. He says, well, Eric, don't worry, okay? I want you to just walk beside me, would you? He says, but I have to dress up. He says, no. It's okay. You know why? He says, why? I am here to be in the parade with y'all, with everyone, if that's okay with you. He says, of course. And all of a sudden, the necklace on Midoriya transforms him into the suit. He says, well, shall we go, Eric? He says, yes. And all of a sudden, the music stops. And everyone looks towards the middle of the big street. People are on some roofs looking out, down. And all of a sudden, you see, everyone knew Eric was going to be. Eric is loved in this town, or in the country. And everyone just sees Eric. Besides this man, they don't know who it is. They said, and one woman yells, Eric, or why do I sound like I'm saying Eren Yeager? They say, Eric, why, who's that? Aren't you supposed to be in the suit? Everyone starts talking a little bit, and all of a sudden the suit goes off, and they see it. They're all silent, and they cross their arms and say, Wakanda forever, and sing. And Midoriya is just there waving, saying, hello. If it's alright with y'all, I would like to be in the parade. That's okay. And they all cheered. The music starts playing. Jewelry's getting thrown. There's food getting sold. Everything. And Midoriya, all the panthers are seeing it from the skies, from under, from everywhere, are just happy. Everyone's happy. And that's where I'm gonna end it, guys. If you're wondering what will happen in the next part, just make sure you comment saying how you like it, just whatever. Or just like whatever you need to do. For sure, don't subscribe if you don't want to, but whatever you want, you know? But I'm glad to be back with y'all, and I think I'm done having problems with my, camera roll. But yeah. But for now, also I should say, Midoriya will be having this weapon. Like, he'll be able to summon it or use it. It's going to be a vibranium sphere. It's pretty much just going to come out of his paw, or his hand right here. Pretty much, if you get what I'm talking about. I'm taking this idea from the Avengers game, if you know what I'm talking about. And also, there's going to be things like that. So, yeah. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'm so happy to be back with y'all. Well, see ya.